on NECN. The region's top CEOs share their insight and experience on the issues and opportunities facing New England businesses. This is CEO Corner.
T3 Men, saving America from commercial real estate evil.
So what is that evil? And just how do T3 advisors do battle against it? They are corporate real estate experts who work only for tenants. Tonight, one of the T3 men is our guest, joining us to talk about his company, the local and national real estate markets, now on CEO Corner.
Good evening. Welcome to CEO Corner. I'm Peter Howe. T3 may be a real estate company, but they don't own any buildings, they don't manage any properties, and they don't represent any landlords. This is a very different sort of real estate company with a very specific focus. Companies in the innovation economy. Joining us now is Roy Hirshland, president and co-founding partner of T3 Advisors. Roy, thanks so much for coming in.
Great to be here, Peter.
So as people can tell from the video, you guys do a great job and you have a lot of fun doing it. Introduce us to the T3 business model, what you're all about.
Sure. Well, we started the firm about 11 years ago with a very simple premise, and that was to advise corporations on anything to do with their real estate and their workplace. My industry, the commercial real estate industry, for many, many years really had been generalists, representing buildings, managing buildings, and then representing corporations. And we felt that companies, the users of real estate, really needed a higher level of consulting and a higher level of focused service. So that's really what we were about when we started the firm.
So really, as we would say, maybe a buy-side firm, not a sell-side firm. And talk a little about, you used the word evil in this, clever video. Talk some about where you come from with that.
Sure. Well, that's we're having fun with the video. We view the owners of real estate, the landlords of America, quite frankly, as partners. If they build and manage buildings that meet the needs of our clients, then that's a great partnership. Having said that, their business is to return profits to their investors. And we want to make sure that we're protecting our clients' needs, not the landlords, and negotiating great deals that work for our client. And if they can work for the landlord as well, fantastic. But again, our only client are the users, the tenants.
Your focus on innovation companies. Describe more kind of what that means. Are you ever potentially turning people away, or is it more just kind of a where you emphasize your marketing and outreach to find new clients?
Sure. Well, I'll answer the question in two ways. First of all, one of the great things about having your own business is, yes, you do get to turn away clients. I would say the companies we turn away, quite frankly, we just feel aren't a good fit for our culture and our kind of value proposition. We really don't do retail. We don't do warehouse space. We certainly don't do residential real estate. One thing, Peter, I have found interesting, certainly a lot of technology clients as companies, life science clients. We just picked up a large hospital system that is looking more introspectively and creatively at their workplace and trying to create a better real estate strategy. So I think most companies and organizations are looking at the new workplace and how they can create more innovative strategies.
And I imagine some of that comes down to just literally the type of space people want to be in. In 2013, what are you seeing is different about what office space, what amenities, what kind of feel your clients want compared to, say, a decade ago?
Right. Great question. I've been doing this for 25 years now, probably giving away my age, but I have seen, and we have seen, more change in the past 2-3 years than in the previous 17 or 20 years in space design and how companies and organizations are using space. We have a social media phrase at T3 called #SpaceMatters. We're finding CEOs, the C-suite boards, looking more introspectively at what kind of workplaces and cultures they're creating. How can they hire the best and brightest and then retain those employees? So lots of great research has been done. I travel the country meeting with partners of ours in the furniture business and great architectural firms, understanding what's happening in the workplace. So two things are happening. One, mobility. At any given time, half of America's office space is sitting empty. So our clients are trying to understand that, shrink their footprint, and then embrace that mobility in different ways. We're also finding a trend called a move towards we space away from me space. So the concept being, how can I build into my company collaboration spaces that allow my employees to work together and be creative?
It's a bit of a glib overgeneralization, but I have a theory that nobody under the age of 30 wants to get into a car and drive to a suburban office park for work anymore. What do you think of that? Do you see that? Any truth to that?
Well, we are certainly seeing a trend to urbanization worldwide. So take San Francisco, for example. You know, if you look at the growth of Twitter and Square and Zynga, those are all happening up in South of Market in the city of San Francisco. Now, having said that, Facebook's a wonderful company, and they're down in the valley, as is Google. But look at Boston. If you look at what's happened in the Seaport over the past 2 or 3 years, it is phenomenal to see the companies that have moved to that area. A great client of ours called LogMeIn is moving from Woburn into the Seaport, into Boston. We never saw that before. So we are seeing a drive to globalization. It's not just in Boston, it's worldwide. I think one of the key factors is the boom of residential development in the city. The thousands of apartments and condos that are being built in urban cores around the world, which will now allow this fusion of what we call work, play, and live together in one location. Again, there are going to be great companies in Boston and in San Francisco that will be outside of core urban settings, but we are seeing a lot of growth in the cities.
A lot of great things to talk about. You mentioned LogMeIn. We'll come back and talk about a few great case studies. I just want to bring up a few numbers and facts. As you mentioned, T3 Advisors, founded in 2001, offices in Waltham, Massachusetts, and Palo Alto, California, describing itself as the only real estate firm in the country focused only on innovation economy companies, and they've served more than 500 clients across the country. I wonder if it's easy to say or easy to list common mistakes that you save your clients from?
We like to say we save our clients time and money, which are both obviously related. Look, our clients are typically, doing something other than real estate for their day job. They're running software companies. They're running biotech companies. So the more effective process we can put in place for the strategy and implementation of the real estate strategy, the better our clients are going to be, the more effective that's going to be. So I think number one is help our clients not make the mistake of wasting time, too much time on real estate. I think the second is around the planning of what do you need? What does your company need for space? And I think there's a very simple statement, which is you can't look back. You can't go home again. You've got to look forward. And I think too often companies, especially technology companies, like to think of the warm, fuzzy days of when they got started and look backwards. And that's wonderful, but they need to look forward and think about the future when they're planning their space. So I think the second mistake we try to help our clients avoid is thinking of the future instead of looking backwards.
Interesting. Now, we've talked a lot, obviously, about brokerage, picking up space, but you're also into project management, government advocacy, sustainability, portfolio management. Say a little bit about some of the other features besides finding clients great and suitable space.
Yeah, great question. So we wanted to build a company that, quite frankly, would look like what the real estate department would look like at a company if you were to build one. But what we're finding today is companies want to hire and build around their core, what's core to their business, and outsource those things that are context to their business. And so we're finding more and more of our clients saying real estate and facilities is not core to what I do. So a lot of our clients are doing national and international expansion, and they want to understand what government entities can offer them and how to negotiate that. So we're very fortunate to find an incredibly talented professional who had gone to the Kennedy School, worked in the Swift-Salucci administration, and then for Governor Romney, who now heads our government advocacy efforts. And we've negotiated projects all over the world for clients working with local governments. Project management was sort of an accidental business that we started. Again, everything's client-focused, Peter, when we do things at T3. And so I just finished a major lease for a really cool tech company who had, again, no real estate department. The CFO literally looked at me and said, fantastic, we just signed a great lease. What do I do now? I have to hire an architect. I got to find a contractor, wiring, furniture, and so forth. And I want T3 to help me with that. And at the time, 6 years ago, we did not have a project management group. And I said, well, let me refer you to some project managers. And he said, I want you. because I trust you and I trust T3. And that's how we, quite frankly, got into the project management business. And now we have professionals in that area working for T3, and it's one of the fastest growing sectors of T3.
That's great. We need to go to a break, but when I come back after our break, we've got some great success stories from T3 and some very cool office space that you're going to find very interesting after our break. It's great because we sort of flow in. Welcome back to CEO Corner. We're talking with Roy Hirshland, president and co-founding partner of T3. Interesting data point there about the NFL players. We hadn't alluded to this earlier, but two former NFL players and a number of other elite former football players on your staff.
Yeah, it's, I think it wasn't necessarily a purposeful strategy, but we've ended up with a number of former Division I football players on our staff. You know, elite athletes tend to be incredibly collaborative. They get to be successful by playing well on a team environment. They're very tenacious and determined. So on the relationship management side of our business, Peter, where we need those skill sets, I think you know, former football players from Stanford and Harvard and Dartmouth and Notre Dame have really worked well here at T3, and we have some wonderful client tailgates at particularly at Stanford, where we've got a couple former superstars from the Stanford football program.
Well, and all year long, especially this time of year, people love to talk football, I find, all over. Everywhere. Now, I promised before the break a look at some of the cool projects that you've done for clients. So we'll start bringing up some pictures. These are companies that you've helped place in interesting, successful spaces for them. Let's take a look first at HubSpot and tell us, describe what we're looking for, or what we're looking at here.
Sure. Well, HubSpot's based in Cambridge. They are one of the real superstars in the Boston area technology world. This is their play space. They're at a former mill building in Cambridge, and this space, I think what we're finding with a lot of spaces is they have multi-use. So at one point this could be a company meeting space, another time you could find people playing foosball, and they could have a company meeting there.
Anything behind the color? Very bright.
Yeah, again, you know, versatile, and so that it allows you to, you know, shoot a company video on one hand, and then, you know, have a company party the next night.
Autodesk was another one that we were talking about, and this I think is, I don't feel like I've ever seen this anywhere before.
Really cool space. I think the neat story about this project was Autodesk gave us very tight locational parameters that, quite frankly, allowed only a couple buildings to be considered, and the building that was exactly where they wanted to go was really a pretty uninspired, ordinary office building. And Autodesk is anything but uninspired and ordinary. And so we were able to negotiate a really creative deal structure that allowed Autodesk long-term control of the building without purchasing it. So their architects and contractors could go in, literally blow the inside of the building out and build these wonderful conference rooms that you see sort of hanging out over the lobby.
And we're looking at the Autodesk does design software, enables you to visualize things before they're built. We've actually had them on the show. It's an incredibly cool company, what they do all day. Another incredibly cool company locally, kayak.com, superb travel website recently bought by Priceline.com. Describe the project that you did with Kayak.
We were involved with 2 leases for Kayak in Concord, Massachusetts, where Kayak has their R&D center. And again, they went into an old Genrad building. You may not have even heard of Genrad, General Radio, 1950, 60, pretty uninspired building. Had been renovated, but Kayak went in with their architects and really tried to design some neat, exciting space. I think a trend we see with a lot of our clients is really no offices, all open space, lots of collaboration, lots of communication in the space.
Kayak, I know, is famous for it's 1 out of 3 complaints that come in on the phone, and engineers have to be there to answer it, and the CEO says, you know, the 5th time an engineer's heard about a problem, he tends to go in and rewrite the software to fix it.
Right.
So another one, interesting company called Black Duck, which describe what they do and what you do for them.
Sure. Well, you know, Black Duck is in the software business. They help a lot of companies when they have to sort of, and I'm not a technologist, but trace back code to make sure that it can be understood and understand who owns that code. So when companies go public, to understand the IP and who owns the IP is really important. But the Black Duck space story was that they were in Waltham, Massachusetts, grew very rapidly and found themselves in a very sort of old-fashioned, backward-thinking office space. 70% offices, 30% cubes. You walked in, you did not get inspired. And I give their management team a lot of credit because they hired us and said, basically, help us understand what are the new trends in the workplace and how can we create a place where the best and the brightest come to interview and say, I have to work at Black Duck. So ultimately, we helped them negotiate, and we oversaw the construction and architecture of a wonderful spot up in Burlington. And one of the unique things I mentioned about Black Duck is when you walk in the front, you walk right into their kitchen and cafeteria, which is a new trend we're finding. So guests get this automatic connection to buzz. They can sit down and they can relax as opposed to sort of the old-fashioned reception area.
A little bit like coming to somebody's house through the kitchen door rather than the formal front door with the living room. And then finally, you mentioned in the first segment LogMeIn, a company you helped relocate from Woburn down to the Innovation District in Boston. A lot of companies doing that these days.
We're in the middle of the LogMeIn project, so they haven't moved yet, Peter, and really, really exciting. We're going to be incorporating some first in Boston design elements to that space, so we're excited to unveil those and have LogMeIn unveil them in a matter of a month or two. I think the management team at LogMeIn, again, looked introspectively at their long-term growth, connection to the engineering community and technology community, and ultimately decided for them moving to Boston, the seaport, was important. I have to say the Menino administration, the mayor's office, was wonderful in working with us and LogMeIn and helping manage some of the process. And they're going to go from, again, a very traditional private office, some open space environment to a complete open office plan. No offices. Really, really exciting.
Well, so you looked at some very cool workplaces that I'm sure required some serious cash to upgrade to what they look like. How easy or hard is it for you to demonstrate to a client, here's the ROI that you're going to get for creating a space like this for your employees?
Well, I'd answer it two ways. First of all, some of these designs don't actually require as much capital as you might think, and we work with a lot of small startups in addition to large public companies, and we help them try to reuse existing spaces that might be out there. But at the end of the day, collaborative environments build better companies, and space is secondary to the cost of people. And so if we can help our clients create spaces that help them hire the best and retain the best, what they spend on their space will be dwarfed by their success. Harvard Medical School did a study where they took a group and put them closer together, researchers, and what they found was the output, the success of the output of that research department, which was measured in published research, increased dramatically by having these researchers closer together and collaborating. So space matters.
Interesting. So we got to go to one more break. You've heard of a lot of real estate companies that are named after people. Why is T3 called T3, and what does that say about their culture? After our break. Welcome back to CEO Corner. We're talking with Roy Hirshland, CEO, co-founding partner of T3 Advisors, a company we've been seeing all the cool things that you do in the world of real estate. And it sounds like there's an interesting story behind how you came up with the name and why.
Sure. Well, I remember like it was yesterday. It was 2001 in the summer when we started the firm, and we talked about with our ad agency at the time what we would name the firm. And we spent a lot of time just come out of that .com era and looking at different names in different languages that may mean speed or cool and so forth. And our marketing folks sort of stepped back and said, what do you do? What is it that T3 does? What do you want to do? And we said, we represent tenants, a lot of them technology tenants, and we're very collaborative. And that's where the phrase the tenant team, the technology tenant team came about and what T3 is about. It served us really well, Peter, for two reasons. One, traditionally firms are named after people, real estate firms like law
Leggett,
firms.
McCall, and right.
Exactly. And from the very beginning of T3, we wanted to be focused on our clients. And so we thought we could make a statement by naming the company about what we do as opposed to ourselves, that would send a message to our clients. The second thing is, I hope this firm is around 50 years from now, and all these wonderful, bright young people that we're hiring will be running the place and not looking every day at the door with my name on it or someone else's name on it. And then the third thing that I have to say we weren't thinking of at the time, but really has worked, is our expansion in Silicon Valley in California, because it's not a name, or we're not called Boston Real Estate Partners or New England Real Estate, I think has helped our success in California.
So it's not an even decade. You're marking 12 years. We've got about a minute left. Just thoughts about the next 12 years at T3, where you hope you are 12 years from now.
First of all, I hope I can come to work every day and have as much fun as I'm having today. Wonderful group of people. So as we grow, I want to make sure we hire the best and the brightest, and we continue to enjoy what we do and find meaning in what we do. I think we'll continue to expand geographically and grow as a company, and we want to keep giving back. We care a lot about the local communities that we do business in, and we want to help make sure that as we grow, we're helping those in the community as well.
Great story. Thank you for sharing it with us. As we say in church, good luck and continue to persevere in resisting evil. Thank you, Roy Hirshland. Thank you for joining us for CEO Corner. We hope you have it back here next week here on NECN. We are New England's news station.